Hello everybody, welcome to the Tai Chi Notebook Podcast, the place where we discuss everything Tai Chi related. My name's Graham Barlow, and in this episode I'm interviewing George Thompson, a filmmaker and a Tai Chi teacher who studied Tai Chi on Wudang Mountain in China under Master Gu. Master Gu is a 15th generation Taoist master in the lineage of Chan Sen Feng. Many traditions hold Chan Sen Feng as the founder of Tai Chi, and Wudang Mountain has long been associated with Taoism. In this episode, we find out how George set off for China without much of a plan and ended up being initiated into the San Feng Pai tradition by Master Gu. It's a pretty interesting story, and don't forget to listen to the end of the podcast because we've got a special discount offer for Master Gu's Tai Chi website.
Hello.
Hello George, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm good. So we're both in Bristol, so we're actually physically here together, which is a rarity.
Which is a rarity in the modern world.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah, it's good to have other practitioners in the Southwest and physical talking on a podcast. Wow.
I know. Where's the Zoom call gone? So you are the head honcho, the chief of Wayfinders Academy. Do you want to just tell us what that's all about and what you're up to?
Well, yeah, head honcho, maybe not a word I would start by using, but Wayfinders Academy is, I am a filmmaker and a Tai Chi teacher studying in China for 2 out of the last 6 years, and I share what I've been learning, particularly Taoist philosophy, Qigong, mindful movement, meditation, and I run a YouTube channel, so that's my main thing. My videos have been watched by over 15 million people and 200,000 subscribers have joined for the ongoing adventure. And Wayfinders Academy is my online teaching platform. And also there's Wayfinders, which is an amazing community, which is much bigger than me, although I did start it. It has 4,000 members and 15 community events a week, which is amazing. So Qigong, meditation and Tai Chi practice from all around the world. So I think what I am doing is trying to use the power of the internet and social media to spread ideas for balance, and particularly these healing arts of Taoism and Tai Chi.
Wow, so there's Wayfinders Academy, but there's also Wayfinders.
Yeah.
So is that like more of a community than a...
So Wayfinders is the free community, and then Wayfinder Academy is where my courses and paid events are found.
Okay, so the Wayfinders, do they actually get physically together to do stuff?
Yeah, there have been physical meetups.
Yeah.
Yeah, mainly online, but there is physical connection as well.
Wow, so that's a lot going on. That's exciting. So you mentioned that your meditation, your Tai Chi, and all that kind of practice that you've picked up. You got a lot of it in China. So what was the story of you ending up at a Taoist monastery? How did that happen?
Yeah. So I started a YouTube channel when I graduated from uni, and I thought, follow my dreams, make videos. I was interested in climate change and trying to do good via business. That was my original intention. But I was making videos that I thought were good and nobody was watching, and I externalized my value as a human being to the number of likes I got and the number of views I got. And because I wasn't getting any views, that meant, according to the voice in my head, that I was not good enough and I wasn't valuable or successful, and I didn't know how to relate to these thoughts. And a new character began to dominate my headspace, who I later personified as the Underminer, a little evil wizard that would bring me down and give me pain. 2 years previously in university, I had watched some monks doing backflips, and I thought that'd be a cool thing for me to do. Yeah. And so when I descended into confusion and anxiety, I thought maybe I should try Kung Fu. So I got a flight to China, tried to get into a monastery in the Wudang Mountains, went up to this temple, and there was a monk sweeping the floor. I go up to her and say, "Ni hao, Kung Fu?" And she just waves me away like, "Wabudong," like, get out of my face. And I was like, okay, I'll try again. So there's a lady carrying tea around, big flask of hot water. I say, "Ni hao, Kung Fu?" And she just says, "Get out of my face." And it's just, I think I tried about 4 times and wasn't really getting anywhere. I later find the monastery I turned up wasn't even a Kung Fu monastery. It was just an academic Taoist normal monastery. And foreigners weren't allowed to study there anyway.
Well, welcome.
Yeah. But that was, part of my journey of not doing enough research. And so opening myself up to, the Tao or, luck to help guide me. So I asked the locals, if I can't learn in a monastery, can you take me to a Kung Fu school? And one of them volunteered as a guide and took me instead to a Tai Chi school. I thought, Tai Chi, that's for older people. And I tried it and fell in love with it. And then, the rest is history. That was 6 years ago. I found Taoism particularly and meditation. And found that I wasn't uniquely messed up for being anxious.
Just like everyone else.
I know, what? Like even the ancient Taoists from 2,500 years ago, despite the world being so different, struggled too. Wow. Yeah. And my underminer would tell me that I was weak for hurting, when in fact, it's just part of being human. And I've been sharing what I've been learning ever since.
That's amazing. I'm amazed that you just went and got on a plane. You didn't seem to know where you were going. You just sort of headed to China. And although thinking back when I left university, I had mad ideas like that as well. Like I was going to join a band and all this sort of stuff, and I did join a band and everything, but we never made it big. But it is that age where you can go and do something like that, isn't it?
And not a lot of thinking, which I think enables the kind of the magic of serendipity to happen, which is, I'm just going to go and see what happens, as opposed to meticulously planning out and like buying my Kung Fu school in advance. I wanted to just arrive and see what was possible. Yeah. And that opened up the space for, something special to happen.
Yeah. I mean, the older you get, the more you think, I could never do anything like that. But I guess really you can, can't you? It's just your perception of how life is, isn't it, in your head that and as you get older, you get more rigid in your ideas. And then I guess the key is to keep that like sort of flexibility alive, isn't it?
And that's one of the key principles in your movement practice, our movement practice in Taoism of flexibility and that returning to the childlike form in the Tao Te Ching, the foundational text of Taoism. That's multiple times refers to children and being supple like children. And like a child finds life just infinitely fascinating and can make toys out of anything. Like I've got a water bottle here and maybe it's a water bottle or a telescope or a whirlpool, and children are just great at doing that. And it's only when we become adults that suddenly we think we know what stuff is. Like we know what a good holiday is, we know what security is, and we know what's good for us. And that can be helpful, but also limits our ability to see actually what is arising for us in our lives. And that means then we cut off opportunities that we could have taken.
So what was it like at the well it's like a Tai Chi school, I guess, that you're at in China. What were the living conditions like, and what was daily life like?
So I arrived. The local that volunteered as my guide, she beckoned me to get back on the bus to go back down the mountain, and that was a bit terrifying because it taken me weeks to get there, and then this lady who didn't speak any English just beckoned me to say, right, we're going back. But thankfully she stopped the bus and we got off a couple of miles down the road, and we got off between a break in the road, started walking down off the road in the trees. We went beneath the tree line, and then there was this stunning view, like a deep, deep valley. Towering in the distance was the top of the Wudang Mountains, the golden temple, Jingding. And to the left, on our side of the valley, was a small farmhouse, a couple of buildings. My guide didn't even seem to be bothered about the view. She just kept going, and I had to run after her. And we arrived, and my guide rudely awoke a lady who was having an afternoon nap with a big Chinese hat on, and pointed at me, said something in Chinese, and this young lady introduced herself as Jingjing, and she was one of the students there. So it's a Tai Chi school. It's called the Wudang Taoist Wellness Academy, and so it explores Qigong and Tai Chi and Taoism, and very, very simple back in those days. So the master's called Master Gu. He's kind of like something out of a film, ponytail, little goatee, and joyful, playful nature. And I lived there for the following 7 months. And the living conditions were very basic. I arrived in the autumn and went into the winter, and it got as cold as minus 15 degrees. No heating, and the windows were mesh, just like a piece of fabric.
Yeah.
And so I'd get back into bed after lunch and would get under like 5 duvets.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then just be freezing there all afternoon. And ironically, beating myself up. And the underminer that, I tried to escape, turned out he travelled too and came with me. And so that was part of my journey of that kind of pain and suffering of the physical that I was involved with, is trying to relate to it in a kinder way. Actually now, thanks to the YouTube channel, and I've helped promote Master Gu's teachings, and he has refurbished the school, so there's windows now.
Oh, right.
Yeah, windows.
Luxury.
I know. Air conditioning for the summer, and well insulated. And so, people who would like to study there now maybe don't get the same harshness, but I was grateful for it.
Well, you got the authentic experience though, didn't you? That sounds like, when you see the movies of the apprentice having to struggle through hardship.
Yeah.
That sounds like it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think it's a bit of a cliche, it's kind of American self-help, but life begins at on the edge of our comfort zone. So often, in our physical practice, we need to break the muscle in order to strengthen it. Like when we do bicep curls at the gym, trying to become Arnold Schwarzenegger. Not that many of us are doing that, but we develop that muscle through tearing the muscle fiber apart, and then it rebuilds stronger. And that's true for our mental life and our life in general, is that actually that pain or that fear that we have, actually, if we go there, often that is where the most teaching and the most growth can come from.
Incredible. So how many hours a day when you're at the Tai Chi school do you actually practice Tai Chi?
So the morning routine, we start off with a morning walk, and Master Gu. Yeah, Master Gu will often sing to the birds, and maybe bring his guitar sometimes, and then just some morning adjustments. The morning movement, which is standing meditation, and then meridian adjustments and hitting acupoints, and then we have breakfast, and then the core teachings. There's 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening, 2 hours in the afternoon, and that involves flexibility training, so leg pressing, stretching your legs on bars, doing kicking workouts, and doing kind of basic steps, and then going through form practice.
Wow, that all sounds like the sort of stuff you can make a great training montage out of, doesn't it? Like Rocky style.
Yeah, well, smash the subscribe button for the people who haven't followed my YouTube channel already, because I've got the training.
You've probably done a video.
I've got the training montages. I've got the just minus the Rocky music, but still some fun, epic montages for sure.
How many Tai Chi forms would Master Gu teach, or do you know?
So for my own practice, I like to stay without weapons, and just to stay with my kind of forms with just my hands and my body. So there's 4 or 5 core forms without weapons. So you have the 8 form, which is like a beginner's form, very short. You've got the 13 form, which is one of the most ancient forms, 33, 28, 108 is kind of like the long classic form. And then there are other weapon forms as well. So swords and fuchun, which is a horse whisk. Some fun.
Like a whip thing, isn't it?
In fact, I have one here, which my friends asked me.
There's one on the wall.
There's a horse whisk hanging on the wall for listeners, and I have friends asking me why I have a kinky whip on the wall.
Yeah, nothing weird about that at all.
Yeah. So we try
to hang my whips.
We try and glance over that one.
Although it looks quite like an antique. Rather than anything dodgy. There's no leather involved.
No. And it's a legit horse whisk from the Wudang Mountains, engraved with my Taoist name, a gift given to me by Master Gu. So I'm grateful for it.
Yeah. Staff as well?
Staff, yeah. So I love staff training. Staff has loads of benefits with strength and flexibility. Yeah, you're kind of spinning something fast around, and for me, it's also the weapon that I love the most to train with because a horse whisk having a horse tail whipping around, it's not that accessible. Like, you're not going to find one that often. And a sword, you might get arrested if you train with a sword in a park. But find a stick anywhere when you're walking in nature, suddenly you've got an opportunity to practice your staff training. And so that's the one weapon form that I did train the most. And
staff.
Yeah, doing staff and staff spinning, and yeah, I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, we do a lot of spear and shingi, but it doesn't have the spinning aspect. But it's more stabby. But you can do it with a staff. It's fine. You're meant to do it as something that's really long
and flexible, right? It's
not flexible.
Oh, not flexible.
Yeah, we are the anti-flexible troop. Yeah. Flexible is like a more modern thing. Whereas if you go back 1,000 years and you actually had to spear somebody off a horse, what use is a flexible spear? Like, you want something that's really solid, so that you can actually have some chance of dismounting them off their horse. You don't want anything that bends.
No.
Bending is more of a personal combat weapon, I think. When you see kung fu films where they bend the spear a lot, and they sort of bend it round things, and that's for like 1-to-1 fight. Like, it's not much use for armies.
No.
You want people in rows all facing the same way. Like, if something bends, then it's gonna be a bit of a problem.
Yeah. And even on 1-to-1 combat, the flexible.
You have to be very good at flexible weapons.
I feel like there's easier weapons to defend yourself with.
Absolutely. To use a flexible weapon, your skill level needs to be considerably higher, I think, than someone who's not using a flexible weapon. Yeah, sure. Because quite often you just end up damaging yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen loads of videos of Chinese people practicing like the flexible weapons, like the rope dart. The rope dart.
Yes.
But if you watch people training that, half of the time they're hitting themselves in the head, hitting themselves in the leg, and those things hurt. They're like a big chunk of metal on a rope. You've got to be so good to even attempt that against someone. So hats off to anyone who does. It's hours of training just to get proficient with it, let alone fight with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so back to China. So we've covered what training was like. The forms themselves, are they a bit like Yang style? Or are they completely different?
Master Gu talks about how Tai Chi is like one big tree. So there's a root and a trunk, and then there's branches. And this would be controversial depending on what school of thought the audience come from, because also the Chinese are very protective over their family heritage. So I'm part of the Wudang family. I'm a 16th generation disciple of the Song Fung Pai, which is a lineage of Wudang Tai Chi. And the Wudang family would claim that they were the originators of Tai Chi. So they came from the Wudang Mountains. Their story is Zheng Songfeng was a monk who actually did go and study around China, then came into Wudang and then concentrated these martial techniques into Tai Chi, particularly when he was thought to see a fight between a bird and a snake and seeing their different moves of graceful effectiveness, and he began to emulate the power of these animal movements and incorporate it into his martial arts. And so Master Gu would say that Wudang is the kind of the root of all the forms of Tai Chi. But more generally, there are obviously principles that overlap. So moving with the breath, groundedness, moving from the dantian or moving from the waist and that leading the movement, and the kind of the torso and the arms following the core movement. But then beyond that, Yang style I understand is more I'd say sharper moves. Like there's more rigid shapes, and like I'm not at all
you haven't done any Yang style.
I haven't. I've only watched videos, so I haven't trained it. Whereas my understanding is that Wudang is softer flows, that would be one key distinction.
And there's more of a religious element
Mm,
as well with Wudang style, isn't there?
absolutely. Like a synonym for Wudang style is Taoist Tai Chi.
Yeah.
So
Do some of the moves actually do they have ritual elements to them?
and this is true of all styles, is that each move has a whole story and etymology, like every single move of every Tai Chi form. And yeah, certainly there's ritual elements to the moves. Yeah, I mean the only one that comes to mind is the boy ringing the bell. So if anyone knows this from their Tai Chi practice, where they have their elbow and you kind of move your body towards an imagined opponent. In Wudang, that is called, the young boy rings the bell, and it's kind of
So I'm imagining it like a huge
bell, ceremonial bell,
and you're hitting it with a clapper that you have to swing. That's a bit like your arm, your elbow. You know, you're imitating the.
You've got it, yeah.
The practice, yeah. Yeah, I used to be a bell ringer.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you use your elbow? I mean, sounds
it was a rope hanging out from the ceiling. Yeah. But that's the Western sort of bell ringing.
Yeah, yeah.
Not the Chinese one.
Well, there's a Zhuangzi story about woodworker Qing, Zhuangzi is the second foundational thinker of Taoism. So you've got the Tao Te Ching, which is the first foundational text, and then you've got the Zhuangzi. The Tao Te Ching was written around 500 BC. Zhuangzi was written 300 BC. And Zhuangzi tells his philosophy through stories. They're super fun. So woodworker Qing was a bell stand woodworker. So he specialized in making the stands for these bells. So unlike our bells, which would be at the top of a bell tower in a church, their bells would be rolled out on these big,
sort of frames.
Exactly, like a big wooden frame for a specific event. And then the bell would be this huge metal bell would be hung on them.
Our bells are still in a wooden frame, but it's fixed at the top of a tower. You know, and eventually they wear out. As my local village back home has had to have all their bells taken away and like refurbished, and it was incredible. I saw the photo of them when they got them out of the tower. I mean, they're massive, you know, they're huge things. And I imagine it's the same when you're actually if you're next to one that's ringing. Like you would be if you rolled them out in a wooden frame in China. I bet it's really loud.
Absolutely, yeah. I can't imagine, how many people it would take to carry these bells. I mean,
well, he'd probably put them on wheels and wouldn't push
them. In fact, I saw some of that happening around the temples where they'd have rolling logs to move big items, like big pieces of stone.
Yeah.
So like 20 people would be, kind of rolling the piece of stone along on 15 logs and then moving the logs from the back forward in order to move these big pieces around.
So you're there, you're training Tai Chi. Do you see or do you take part in any Taoist religious things as well while you're there?
Yeah, so the Wudang Mountains itself is a very spiritually potent place and, has had practitioners there for thousands of years, and still today, the farmers from Hubei will come to the Wudang Mountains in order to pray to Junwu and give donations of rice to Junwu, who's the god of the Wudang Mountains, so that Junwu will be kind to the farmers' rice crops. So he kind of...
Is Junwu the one with the big spear?
He takes many forms. A turtle and a snake is one of his main forms.
Okay, no, I'm thinking of someone else. The god of war and accountancy.
That's a funny combo.
Yeah, it's a very odd combo, yeah.
It's a metaphor for our modern world.
yeah. No, sorry, go on.
So Junwu, is... I don't know... Well, I know his story, which we could go into, but I don't know his, characteristics as war and accountancy equivalent.
Well, I mean, they've all got, several... they've got a whole list... Every god has got a whole list of stuff they're, responsible for.
Yeah. It's it's a full-time job, even as an immortal, it's, a lot for them to manage each day. The farmers will still today come and, give gifts to the Wudang Mountains, and the monks then go and eat the rice gifts, which is quite a fun kind of microeconomy of sustaining the monastic communities. Yeah, there's something like 15 temples on the Wudang Mountains, and you can join for the chanting, you can simply sit in, and so often I'd like to, in the afternoons, go for an afternoon walk and then go up to the temple and then just go and sit meditate and chant with the monks, which is
nice.
special experience.
Oh, good. And what about the martial content of the stuff you were learning? Did you practice applications, or did you show applications for things?
Depends on your master. So Tai Chi, is a martial art slowed down and gives you many of the core body functional movements, the mechanics of martial arts. So strong legs, grounding, moving from the center. My master didn't teach martial applications, so he's a wellness teacher. So he wouldn't teach martial arts. Although we did have a fight on our first week there, because I told him that I wanted to learn kung fu, and he was like, "All right, well, I can teach you kung fu, and I'll show you my martial skills." And so we had a little scrap, which was quite a hilarious moment, and it's preserved on the YouTube channel for all time.
It was recorded.
Yeah, you can watch it. Yeah.
All right. Who won?
Well, it was a bit of a scrap, as
right. It's a bit unclear.
Yeah, it was a bit of a messy one, to be honest.
Yeah.
Not in a violent way, but just a bit of a. I don't have any fighting experience. And I actually went to I'll become a strong man and I'll know how to defend myself.
Yeah.
Which I still haven't. Done at all. I've continued my soft.
You got distracted by the comfort.
the comfort and the flow of Tai Chi, which I think matches me energetically. Although I think there's definitely value to the strength and confidence you get from just a peaceful warrior, in the words of Dan Millman, of being able to know that you can defend yourself without ever needing to raise a fist to anyone. Is I think gives a confidence that I value, which I still haven't put any energy into manifesting yet. So please, audience, don't start any fights with me.
Well, there's very little need for fighting in the modern world, frankly. I mean, I'm still waiting to be attacked. It's still what happens.
All these years of training.
It's never happened. Because I think basically if you, the more training you do, the more you keep away from bad situations.
Yeah.
And really you're most at risk when you're in a bad situation. And if you just learn not to go there, then there's very little need to ever. I mean, I get beaten up in training all the time. My neck's hurting at the moment, but never actually had a fight. So well, I mean, fingers crossed. Let's keep it that way. I don't want to have a fight because it sounds horrendous.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I have fights in the dojo all the time.
Yeah. I mean, that is a gift of. There's a mixed story around what civilization has done for humanity, and the Taoists particularly would say that it's actually corrupted our innate goodness. That actually we can live in harmony with each other and nature without the need for top-down hierarchies and governments. But then, and I do think there's a lot of truth to that, but also a reality of the human experience is violence in history. And just to give one example is in the 90s in the Wudang Mountains. So you've got the mountain range, and then you've got the Wudang town, which is below the mountains. And there's quite a lot of Kung Fu schools there. And so in the 90s and in the 2000s, there'd be basically running street battles between the Kung Fu schools where you'd have young whippersnapper kids that are, been given up in order, from their family, being traumatized by that, and then being put into these Kung Fu schools and then taught how to fight really well and then competitively fight. And so, there'd be running battles on a Friday night of the Kung Fu artists. And it's only, in the late 2000s where the local government, because they were kind of complicit in it and even saw it as part of the development of the kids of, this is...
It's great, look, they're fighting each other, fantastic.
Yeah, another 3 in hospital on a Friday night, great. But I think as more tourists came, they thought, all right, we got to...
Yeah, it's probably a bad idea.
Yeah.
Puts the tourists off, doesn't it? Yeah. So you go to China, you're the anxious sort of, young Western man. You go to China, meet your master. It sounds like a movie, doesn't it? Yeah. And then, so after your stay in China, you come back, and do you think you got what you wanted out of that trip?
I think that the important thing is life is a journey, and so there's not a And I think this is some of the challenges that we can have, if we, if one of the audience goes on a silent meditation retreat, or maybe goes to do some training in an intensive abroad or in the UK, and puts a lot of pressure onto that one event to change their lives or to shift things. And indeed, these times where we remove ourselves from our everyday in order to see what's left of us, and also then to practice these timeless practices, which have lasted thousands of years because they have a lot of efficacy and something that can help us no matter what country we're from or how old we are. And so, yeah, I've got an awful lot of value out of my time. Also was conscious of not wanting to put pressure on myself to be transformed coming back, because I was conscious of those thoughts of how am I going to be when I'm back, and like am I going to be okay with my friends, like will I be able to fit back in, and like will I just be anxious again the minute I get back into my everyday. And I can say that my time was transformational, not in a instantaneous this is my life has changed, but it has set me on a path that continues to nourish me, and I continue to deepen in, and I continue to feel the benefits. And so, yes, I was better, and I think that's the key word. Is one of the most famous lines in the Tao Te Ching is a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. And so we can actually go an awfully long way if we don't focus on the destination, but instead just take a step, take another step, take another step, take another step. And so, yeah, that was a life-changing, I'd never heard of Tai Chi or Taoism before. Now this is my full passion and what I, have dedicated my life to sharing. And I am grateful for that. And I've felt the benefits from that practice.
Wow. And so that's what you're doing now you're back over here, I guess, is just sharing all these different things you've picked up with other people.
Yeah, I went back to China. I did a corporate job for a year, saved up some money, and even the corporate job is interesting. I mean, what I'm really passionate about is sharing and discovering ideas and practices that can help people and planet live in balance. So ideas and practices that can help us gain energy and to live well, and that being the basis upon which then we can be of service to our families, communities, and ultimately the planet. And there's a reciprocal relationship between the state of nature, the state of our societies and our wellness, and the state of our planet. And so even doing, for some people, mindless job of working in the corporate machine of modern capitalism was fascinating for me, because I began to understand, the workings of our modern society. And so, worked with business and then saved up enough money to give a punt at the YouTube channel again. And I, am now full-time making films. And
I mean, your YouTube videos are very high quality. You obviously spend a long time making them. They're not just like mine, where I just set up my camera in my garden, do a few moves and say something, and then that's it. But you've got different locations. You've got shots of China. You've got drone footage flying over temples and things. It's all very impressive. How did you study all that stuff?
All self-taught from YouTube. So
really,
that's the beautiful thing. Is that there's so much learning available, and I mean, for the audience that will be interested in movement and I guess martial arts or qigong, you have a curiosity to learn, as I know that you do as well, Graham, and that curiosity can serve an awful lot. And we live in a beautiful time in many ways, because we have access to all of the teachings from all around the world over history, those that have survived, Taoism, Buddhism, Hinduism, Celtic,
you name
Christianity, it's literally the whole world. And filmmaking and graphic design and whatever you want to learn, it's available, and often for free. And
but that doesn't mean you'll be good at it. Whereas I think you're actually quite good at it. You've got a talent for it. So
I would say filmmaking is the one thing that has come effortlessly to me. something, we all have unique gifts, and every single one of us, is a unique manifestation of the intelligence of the universe with a gift to share with the world. And that doesn't need to be a big, high and mighty thing. But for me, filmmaking is a medium that has resonated with me for a long time. And yeah, I've actually made my second film in the Cairngorm, Scotland this year.
Yeah, you were up there. Was it last week or
yeah,
week
because
before?
me and Graham, we connected. Yeah,
we tried to record a podcast then, and it my fault. Technology let me down.
Well, it was all meant to be.
But I think this is much better. So
this feels much better. So it was the right
it's better
time.
doing it in person, isn't it?
Indeed, there is an energy when we do it in person. Yeah, the film I'm making, made in Scotland. I'm talking to Netflix directors, and so it's exciting. There's lots of things happening. Yeah.
Actually, yeah, like I say, you would make a great Netflix documentary subject, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You got the story.
Yeah, I got the story. Yeah. So, and I'm passionate about sharing ideas that help people and planet live in balance. So there's, told through me as a young whippersnapper trying to work life out.
Yeah.
But also trying to communicate these timeless practices and ideas that can help us live in balance.
That's amazing. Do you want to leave us with, I don't know, some sort of, what's one of your favourite practices or teachings that you can do on a podcast without video? I don't know whether that's possible.
Yeah. Well, one comes to mind, and this is the meditation practice that I do the most throughout the day, and it's really simple and yet super transformational. And it's been one of the most powerful practices that I've done. And what is it? It is simply taking a single mindful breath. And if the audience would like to join me, I invite you to breathe in through your nose, relaxing your face, and breathing out, slow, gentle, kind breath. We can try one more of those, breathing in and breathing out, softening on the exhale. And if we can develop that as a practice, just we notice we're in thinking or feelings that aren't serving us, or maybe we're in conversation and we notice that we're stuck in our heads, just taking that single breath, coming back, opening that space, releasing tension. That is a practice that I use throughout the day, and it's been really transformational for me.
Amazing. Thank you very much, George Thompson.
Thank you, Graham. Privilege. Thank you.
If you would like to learn Tai Chi with George's teacher, then he's got his own website where you can learn Tai Chi with him online. What's really good is that as listeners to the Tai Chi Notebook podcast, we've got a special discount code that lasts for the lifetime of your membership. So that's one free month every year. All you need to do is enter the code Tai Chi Notebook, all in caps, when you sign up. Just head over to taoistwellness.online and hit the 7-day trial option, and don't forget to enter your coupon code. You can also use the same code on George's Balanced Life website, which is wayfinder.academy, for a similar discount. Hope you enjoyed the show, and I'll see you next time.